In the 20th century America, a leader emerged to become the voice of the civil rights movement, facing challenges that extended far beyond the borders of his own country. Today, we will delve into the life of Martin Luther King Jr., a historical figure whose influence echoes through generations. Born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia, Martin Luther King Jr. grew up in a family devoted to the church and the values of equality. His father, a Baptist minister, instilled in him a sense of purpose and a belief in the power of peaceful protest. As a young boy, he witnessed the injustices faced by African Americans, from segregation in schools to public spaces. These early experiences laid the foundation for his future role as a civil rights leader. Throughout his education, Martin Luther King Jr. excelled academically and showed great promise as a preacher and orator. He earned a doctorate in theology from Boston University in 1955 and became a pastor at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. His involvement in the church provided a platform for addressing social issues and advocating for change. The turning point in Martin Luther King Jr.'s life came on December 1, 1955, when Rosa Parks, an African-American woman, was arrested for refusing to give up her seat to a white person on a segregated bus in Montgomery. In response, the African-American community launched a bus boycott that lasted for over a year. Dr. King emerged as a prominent leader during this boycott, advocating for nonviolent resistance and civil disobedience. In 1957, Martin Luther King Jr. co-founded the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, an organization committed to promoting civil rights and ending racial segregation. He used his eloquence and charisma to galvanize support for the civil rights movement across the nation. One of the defining moments of Dr. King's life came during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom on August 28, 1963. Standing before the Lincoln Memorial, he delivered his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech, a powerful vision of a future where racial harmony and equality prevailed. This speech remains one of the most memorable and impactful moments in American history, inspiring millions worldwide. Throughout the 1960s, Dr. King led numerous protests and demonstrations aimed at ending segregation and promoting voting rights for African Americans. His commitment to nonviolent resistance was tested many times as he faced hostility, violence, and multiple arrests. But his determination and unwavering faith in the cause never wavered. In 1964, the Civil Rights Act was signed into law, a landmark achievement for the civil rights movement. The act prohibited discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin and paved the way for greater equality. Despite progress, the struggle for civil rights continued, and Dr. King remained at the forefront of the movement. In 1965, he led the Selma to Montgomery March to protest the denial of voting rights to African Americans. The brutal police response to the peaceful march, known as Bloody Sunday, shocked the nation and intensified the call for voting rights legislation. In 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. traveled to Memphis, Tennessee, to support striking African American sanitation workers. On April 4, 1968, tragedy struck when he was assassinated on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel. His death sent shockwaves around the world, sparking riots in several cities and leaving a void in the civil rights movement. However, his legacy endured, and his dream lived on. The Civil Rights Act was followed by the Voting Rights Act of 1965, further solidifying the progress toward racial equality. The holiday of Martin Luther King Jr. Day was established in 1983, honoring his contributions to American society. Beyond America's borders, Dr. King's message of nonviolence and equality resonated with people fighting for justice and human rights worldwide. His principles were embraced by leaders like Nelson Mandela in South Africa and Aung San Suu Kyi in Myanmar, who found inspiration in his peaceful approach to change. Today, as we look back on the life and legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., we are reminded of the power of a single individual to create profound change. His dedication to justice, equality, and love remains a guiding light, inspiring future generations to carry on the fight for civil rights and human dignity. In conclusion, the influence of Martin Luther King Jr. transcends time and borders, continuing to inspire people to dream of a better world, a world where prejudice, discrimination, and inequality are replaced with compassion, understanding, and unity. His legacy reminds us that the struggle for justice and civil rights is not confined to any one nation but is a universal cause that calls upon all of humanity to stand together in the pursuit of a brighter, more inclusive future.